Welcome to today's reflection on one of the most profound and often overlooked days in the Christian faith, Holy Saturday. While many focus on Good Friday and Easter Sunday, Holy Saturday holds a unique place in the journey to the resurrection. It is the day when silence reigns, a time when Jesus' body lay in the tomb and the earth seemed to hold its breath. But what does this day mean for us today? Why did Jesus choose silence before the moment of his greatest triumph? In this video, we will explore these questions and uncover the deep significance of this holy day. Throughout history, Christian communities have observed Holy Saturday in various ways. For some, it is a quiet day of reflection. For others, a time of intense waiting. However, one thing remains constant: the silence. The silence of Holy Saturday is not just an absence of sound, but a space filled with anticipation, prayer, and hope. So why did Jesus choose silence before his resurrection? Let's begin by understanding the historical and theological significance of Holy Saturday. To understand the significance of Holy Saturday, we first need to look at the historical and theological meaning of this day. In the early church, this day was seen as a time of preparation, a time when the earth seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the great miracle that was to come. It was a time to reflect on Jesus' death, yet to await with hopeful anticipation the resurrection that would bring eternal life. While Good Friday was the day of suffering and death, Holy Saturday is the day in between, a day of waiting. And it's in this waiting, in this silence, that we learn a valuable lesson. Sometimes God calls us to trust, to wait, and to believe that something incredible is about to happen, even when we can't see it. Holy Saturday is not about the end. It is about what comes next. It's a pause, a moment to reflect, and a reminder that even in the darkest moments of our lives, there is always hope waiting to break through. And in this waiting, we learn what it means to truly trust in God's timing. Now let's turn our attention to Jesus. After his death on the cross, there were no more words from him. He remained silent. But why? Why did Jesus, who had always spoken to the crowds, heal the sick, and cast out demons, choose to remain silent during this crucial moment? Was it a moment of weakness, or was there something more profound at work? Jesus' silence was not a sign of weakness, but a sign of something greater: trust. Trust that God's plan was unfolding, even if it wasn't visible to those around him. It's as though Jesus was saying, "The work I have done on earth has been completed. Now I must rest in silence before the greatest victory is revealed." Sometimes silence is not a sign of abandonment, but a preparation for something even greater. In our lives, when we feel alone, when we cannot hear God's voice, it may be in those moments of silence that God is preparing us for the greatest breakthrough we have yet to experience. Have you ever felt like you are waiting for something? Maybe a breakthrough, a new beginning, or a change in your life. Have you ever felt like you're in a season of silence where nothing seems to be happening? Holy Saturday teaches us about the power of waiting. It teaches us that waiting is not passive. It is an active trust, a declaration that we believe something is coming, even when we cannot see it. Think of the waiting you've experienced in your own life. The moments when you didn't have all the answers, when it seemed like things weren't moving forward. Those moments of silence are not wasted. They are preparing you for what's next. Holy Saturday is a reminder that after the silence, after the waiting, comes the resurrection. Sometimes in our impatience, we forget that God's timing is perfect. We want answers now. We want our breakthrough today. But Holy Saturday teaches us patience. It teaches us that in waiting, in silence, there is beauty, there is purpose, and there is a promise. The promise that God is working in the unseen, even when we can't feel it. Perhaps the silence of Holy Saturday is a metaphor for all the silent seasons we go through in our lives. When we are in a moment of transition, when we've prayed for an answer and heard nothing, when we've hoped for change and nothing seems to happen. But in that silence, God is preparing us. Jesus' silence didn't mean he wasn't there. It didn't mean he had abandoned his followers. The silence was the calm before the storm of his resurrection. And in that stillness, Jesus was making a way for something incredible: the victory over death, the salvation of the world. In our lives, the silence doesn't last forever. After the waiting comes the resurrection. After the quiet comes the breakthrough. You see, it's in those quiet moments, those seasons of stillness, that we are being prepared for the very thing we've been waiting for. And when it comes, it will be all the more glorious. Now I invite you to reflect on your own life. What is God preparing you for in your season of silence? What is He teaching you in the quiet moments? You may not have all the answers right now, but remember, God is at work. He is always working, even when we don't see it. The silence of Holy Saturday wasn't the end. It was the beginning of the greatest miracle the world has ever seen. So let us take this moment to trust. Let us embrace the waiting, knowing that after every dark night, there is a dawn. After every season of silence, there is a resurrection. And in that resurrection, there is hope, there is joy, and there is victory. Thank you for joining me on this reflection today. As we continue our journey, remember, silence is not the absence of God's presence. It is the space where God is preparing something incredible. So embrace the silence, trust in the waiting, and know that the resurrection is always coming.